रेडियो अपना फ्रैंकफर्ट दिल से कहता है. Hello friends, I am Raman from Apna Frankfurt and welcome once again to a very special discussion today. In the series of interviews and discussions, we have today with us Dr. Benesh Joseph. Dr. Benesh Joseph is heading a research group in Institute of Biophysics in Goethe University Frankfurt. Thank you very much, Doctor, for taking out the time.
Thank you, Raman. Hello, viewers and listeners.
Yeah. So a short introduction to Dr. Benesh. So he has studied in Europe and is now heading a research group in Frankfurt. His field of study is in the field of biophysics, which has led actually him to draw some conclusions regarding the spread of coronavirus in Germany. And today we are going to talk to him about this. So before we jump into some key questions, Dr. Joseph, would you like to tell our viewers and listeners something about yourself?
Sure, Raman. So like Raman mentioned, I'm Benesh Joseph. I'm from India, from Kerala. So as he mentioned, I'm a principal investigator and group leader at the Institute of Biophysics, which is a part of the physics department at the Goethe University in Frankfurt. I came to Frankfurt after my doctorate at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, or ETH, in Zurich in Switzerland. And for the last 7 years, I am working at the Goethe University in Frankfurt.
Thank you, Doctor. So let's now jump into some key questions. So as you have already mentioned that you are heading a research group in Frankfurt, would you like to tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about your field of research and what exactly it is?
Sure. Yeah. So broadly speaking, my group is interested in understanding how membrane transporters function. So these are protein complexes mediating transport of substances across the cellular membrane. So we do investigations in two directions. In one line of research, we try to understand the fundamental aspects of the function of these proteins. On the other side, we try to study how to inhibit these protein complexes, because some of them are very essential for the survival of bacterial pathogens. And by finding means to inhibit them, we can find new ways to combat bacterial pathogens.
Okay. So, I mean, you talk about pathogens as a topic, and I understand that viruses are also kind of pathogens, right?
Yes, so, in a way, yeah, right.
Yeah. So what is your opinion on the current situation in the light of coronavirus? I mean, is it really a new virus, or does it bear some similarities to some already known viruses? I mean, viruses have been around us all the time. So what is so special about coronavirus that suddenly it has created such a big impact?
Yes, that's a question a lot of people ask these days. So the SARS coronavirus 2, which causes COVID 2019, have quite some similarities with SARS coronavirus 1, which caused the SARS outbreak in 2002. But however, SARS coronavirus 2 got some additional features which make it a much more severe pathogen, leading to a much more severe infectivity and pathogenicity. So, so there are quite some rumors spreading about the origin of these additional features for SARS coronavirus 2. Despite that, the reality is that all these additional features are naturally present in some related viruses. And what we can say all at the moment is that SARS coronavirus 2 also got these additional features through mutations and natural evolution in an animal host. And there are no real scientific evidence against it, at least as of now.
So it's basically all the questions that it is kind of a biotechnology or human-made virus. There is no evidence as of now to prove it. It is, according to your opinion, a self kind of enhanced virus that has happened.
All we can say is that there is all the chances that it can naturally evolve. We have seen this such evolution in other viruses. For example, even SARS coronavirus 1 also evolved in an animal host called civet. So there is all the likelihood that here also it evolved like that. But this also opens an interesting point. In principle, using today's technology, it's possible to make a synthetic viruses such as coronavirus 2. It's possible. Yeah. So despite that, we have no evidence that that's the case here, but it also opens a big question of using such viruses as bioweapons in the future.
Yeah. No, right. You're absolutely right there. Okay, moving on to the next question here now. Coronavirus has spread very rapidly across the world. And now almost every nation in the world is impacted by this virus. We hear that in news, and we know that from the statistics as well. Now, the key question to you as an expert, what are the possible spreading routes for this virus?
So, like all the viral respiratory infections, this COVID 2019 also transmit through direct contact. Yeah, that means getting in contact with any surfaces containing or carrying droplets containing viral particles. So it could be any surface, and in fact, on these surfaces, the viruses can stay alive for quite some days. Yeah. So that's why it's recommended. The frequent hand washing is recommended. Social distancing is recommended. These are all the ways. These are all the ways to prevent the transmission of the virus. But these days, we are listening to an additional mode of transmission. That means transmission through micro droplets in air. And what that means is when an infected person speak or sneeze, he can generate droplets containing these viral particles. And once these droplets are released, what happens is that they are evaporated very fast. By that, they become very small, forming very tiny micro droplets, and their motion is more influenced by the air currents more than by the gravity. That means they can travel meters to meters from the origin, and thereby spreading this disease to longer distances. And this is of particular importance in closed environments like in an office, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a reason, in addition to washing hands and social distancing, wearing masks also is getting a very important protective measures to prevent the spread of the virus.
Yeah. Now, as of now, in Germany, we know that it is not mandatory to wear masks. And I think the guideline is if you maintain a distance of up to 2 meters, this is fine. So is this also something which you will support here?
So in open air, probably you're right. But if you are sitting in a closed environment, like in an office, where you can come close up to 4 meters, for example, it may be a little bit risky not to wear masks. And as far as I understand, usage of masks may get as one of the important criteria to go outside and work in the coming days, I assume.
All right, thank you. So I mean, let's look at the solution side of this now. So far, there have been many researches ongoing. A lot of companies are trying to find out a possible medication for this or vaccination for coronavirus. What is the current status on that?
Yeah, so it's an important question. A lot of people are really concerned about this aspect. And as we all know, there is no complete cure for COVID-19. This is really true. And what we read from media and scientific publications is that doctors are trying to explore the possibility of using existing drugs. For example, the antimalarial chloroquine alone, or in combination with other antibiotics such as azithromycin, or the SARS coronavirus 2 is an RNA virus like the HIV virus. And there are existing drugs against RNA viruses. And in many countries, doctors are exploring the possibility of those existing antiviral drugs also. But the important point here is that there is no direct scientific evidence that any of these drugs can cure, or any of these combinations of these drugs can cure the COVID-19. But developing a new drug can take 10 to 15 years minimum. Yeah. And we are left with no other choice of having this trial and error usage of combinations of existing drugs for the time being.
Yeah.
Okay. And when it comes to vaccines, so when we look into the vaccine development globally, at least 15 companies are exploring the possibility for a vaccine development using different strategies. And some of them are already into phase 1 clinical trial, but that also means that it has to go to the phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. And then there is regulatory approval and review, manufacturing, quality control. So after finishing all these steps, it's unlikely that we have a vaccine at least until the end of this year, most likely.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you for that. And I mean, I was watching the television, and there was also another new point that I heard, and I would also like to share here, although I'm not an expert on it, that there are some people who have developed antibodies in their blood, and also with blood transfusion, they are now trying if they can save people whose bodies are not reacting, they are not creating those antibodies, then they can help those people in fighting with coronavirus. No, thank you very much, Dr. There. So, any word of advice from you for all of us during this special coronavirus times?
Yeah, so considering that there is no effective treatment or a vaccine available, the reality is that we have to live with this virus for a while. Yeah, that means we have to maintain the washing of hands, social distancing, and using mask, most importantly, for a while. And the hope is that during this phase, the society would develop what is called the herd immunity, which would slow down the spread of the virus. And by then, hopefully, we have a new vaccine. And combined with that, we would be able to contain this viral pandemic.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Joseph. I think your words have really helped us to understand this coronavirus situation at this moment very better. And thank you for your expert comments here.
Thank you, Raman. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah. Talk to you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
अपना फ्रेंड फहद दिल से कहता